You can feel it, can't you? The energy has been building. The signs won't stop. And deep inside, your soul knows. This is the final stage. The masculine is shifting, but he cannot take the first step. He is waiting for a frequency he cannot create alone. And that frequency belongs to you, the divine feminine. This does not mean chasing. It does not mean lowering yourself. It means embodying your truth so powerfully that the path to union unlocks. The universe has always designed it this way. She moves first, not because she carries more weight, but because her vibration is the key. So if you've been wondering why the pressure is so intense, why the urgency won't leave, why the tether feels electric, it's because the universe is calling the feminine into her movement. The question is not if you will move, the question is, are you ready to embody the step that will open the door to union? Every twin flame connection is a spiral, not a straight line. It circles through recognition, separation, lessons, shadows, healing, and growth. Each stage prepares the souls for what is coming next. But there is one moment where the spiral tightens, where all the cycles converge into a single point. The final stage before union. And when that stage arrives, everything feels heavier, louder, more urgent than ever before. This stage is not about romance or longing. It is about alignment. The universe begins to strip away every illusion, every crutch, every distraction that either counterpart has leaned on. The feminine feels it first. Sudden waves of detachment. The inability to tolerate what once felt acceptable. The urge to stand taller in her truth. The masculine feels it too, but differently. Restlessness. The collapse of old patterns. The pressure of his own silence. Together, these signs point to one truth. The connection is reaching its threshold. The final stage feels like paradox. On one hand, the tether is stronger than ever. Synchronicities flood your days. Dreams replay with clarity. The magnetic pull in your chest is undeniable. On the other hand, the physical gap may feel wider than ever. Conversations stall, silence grows, or separation seems insurmountable. But this paradox is intentional. It forces both souls to anchor the union internally before they can embody it externally. For the feminine, this stage feels like being pushed into sovereignty. She cannot go back to chasing, pleading, or waiting. Those roles collapse under the intensity of the energy. Her soul demands embodiment, not in words, but in presence. She feels the call to step into her mission, to hold her light unapologetically, to embody the vibration of union before it physically manifests. For the masculine, this stage is confrontation. The detachment of the feminine shakes him, forcing him to see where he has relied on her energy. His distractions fail, his excuses echo hollow. He begins to feel her absence as a mirror of his own avoidance. And though he may resist, the truth becomes unavoidable. He cannot step forward until she has embodied her light, because her frequency is what ignites his awakening. This stage is often misunderstood as endless waiting, but it is not. It is preparation. The universe is aligning both polarities to enter union as equals, not as rescuer and rescued. It demands the breaking of cycles, the healing of wounds, the claiming of sovereignty. And this process, though intense, ensures that when union manifests, it is not fragile or fleeting. It is sustainable, sacred, and unshakable. If you're in this stage, you will feel it everywhere. The urgency in your chest, the synchronicities you cannot deny, the sudden collapse of old attachments, the dreams that replay like prophecies. These are not signs of chaos. They are confirmations that the spiral has reached its center. And at this center, the universe is whispering one truth: union is not far. But first, you must embody who you were always meant to be. This is the final stage, the place where endings and beginnings meet. The place where silence becomes preparation and detachment becomes the key. The place where the divine feminine rises first, not as sacrifice but as signal. Because only when she steps forward into her light can the doorway to union truly open. Why the feminine must move first. In the twin flame journey, there is a divine sequence. Nothing unfolds out of order, and no step can be skipped. At the final stage, the universe always calls the divine feminine to move first. Not because she is above the masculine, and not because she must carry him, but because her frequency is the key that unlocks the field of union. She is the one who receives first, feels first, anchors first. And so, she must embody first. This can feel unfair to the feminine. After all, hasn't she carried enough? Hasn't she cried, healed, released, and surrendered again and again? Yes. And yet, it is precisely because of this that she has chosen to move first. Her vessel has been tuned through lifetimes to receive light, to transmute shadow, to anchor truth. The masculine, by design, awakens through her movement. Without her embodiment, he continues in delay. With it, the tether vibrates so strongly that he can no longer numb or deny. It's important to understand, moving first is not chasing. Chasing is rooted in fear, in the need for validation, in the illusion that union depends on forcing the other to act. Embodiment is different. It is stepping into sovereignty, mission, and truth so completely that the feminine no longer waits for external confirmation. She becomes the confirmation. She lives as though union is inevitable because it is already alive inside her. The universe waits for this moment. When the feminine stops leaking energy into desperation and begins channeling it into embodiment, everything shifts. Synchronicities multiply. The masculine feels the cord vibrate in ways he cannot escape. His silence becomes unbearable. His distractions fail. His longing surfaces like a tide he cannot suppress. Her movement ignites his awakening because her frequency is no longer negotiable. Moving first means claiming mission. It means showing up in her truth, unapologetically, even if he has not yet arrived. It means creating space, building the life, aligning with the purpose she came here for. And this is not abandonment, it is alignment. The masculine does not awaken through being carried. He awakens through feeling her sovereignty as a mirror of his own potential. When she moves, she does not drag him forward. She simply rises, and in rising, she exposes the gap between where she stands and where he hides. That gap burns in his chest. It rattles his ego. It shakes his illusions. And eventually it forces him to move. The feminine must also understand that her movement is not only for him, it is for herself, for the collective, for the mission that transcends romance. She is not waiting for permission. She is not shrinking for his comfort. She is embodying her role as frequency holder of union. And that embodiment calls him into alignment. not through control, but through resonance. This is why the universe will not allow her to stand still at this stage. She will feel restless if she tries to wait. She will feel drained if she clings to the past. She will feel pulled until she steps forward. Her soul knows the truth. Union cannot manifest without her light leading the way. So why must the feminine move first? Because she is the signal. She is the spark. She is the vibration that opens the portal. And until she moves, the masculine cannot see his own path clearly. But when she does, when she embodies sovereignty, mission, and truth, she not only prepares herself, she prepares the field. And in that field, union becomes not only possible, but inevitable. The divine masculine does not awaken because of words. He does not awaken because of arguments, demands, or explanations. His awakening begins when the feminine shifts her frequency, when she stops leaking energy into desperation and instead embodies the vibration of truth. That shift reverberates through the tether like a bell that cannot be unheard. This is the mystery of the twin flame bond. It is not logical, it is vibrational. The masculine may resist with his mind, may fight with his ego, may drown himself in distractions. But when her frequency changes, he feels it. He feels it in his dreams, in his emotions, in the hollowness of what once satisfied him. The very ground beneath him begins to feel unstable, because the energy he unconsciously relied on is no longer there to cushion him. When the feminine is still trapped in cycles of chasing, he remains comfortable in avoidance. Her pursuit feeds his illusion that he has time. Her devotion becomes a crutch that allows him to delay his own transformation. But the moment she withdraws her energy from the old cycle, the moment she chooses herself fully, the tether begins to vibrate differently. He notices. He cannot explain it, but he feels the absence. And that absence becomes louder than her presence ever was. This is the frequency shift. She no longer radiates longing. She radiates sovereignty. She no longer sends out the signal of, "I need you to move." She emits the vibration of, "I am whole whether you move or not." And that vibration shakes him because it dismantles the role he was unconsciously playing. He can no longer feed off her devotion. He must now face himself. The shift awakens him by contrast. Her clarity highlights his confusion. Her rootedness exposes his instability. Her truth makes his denial unbearable. And though he may resist, the pressure builds until he has no choice but to confront what he has avoided. He begins to feel restless, dissatisfied with old patterns. The things that once distracted him lose their sweetness. The silence he once controlled now feels heavy, all because her energy no longer supports the illusion. But the feminine must understand. This is not manipulation. She does not shift frequency to get a reaction. She shifts because it is her natural evolution. She rises because her soul demands it. The masculine's awakening is a byproduct of her embodiment, not the purpose of it. If she moves only to provoke him, she falls back into chasing. But if she moves to embody her truth, her frequency becomes undeniable, and the awakening unfolds organically. The universe designed it this way because the masculine learns not through comfort, but through disruption. He cannot awaken while being carried. He awakens when he feels the loss of what he took for granted. He awakens when her sovereignty mirrors back his avoidance. He awakens when her vibration calls him higher than his excuses. And the beauty is this: When he does awaken, it is not because she forced him, but because he finally feels the call of his own soul. Her frequency does not drag him into truth. It reminds him of his own. The tether vibrates not as command, but as resonance. It whispers, "This is who you are too. Will you rise to meet it?" This is why the feminine's frequency shift is so powerful. It is not just about her. It is the turning point of the entire journey. When she embodies union within herself, she creates the energetic template that allows him to step into it as well. Without that template, he wanders in confusion. With it, he begins to remember. The shift is subtle, yet seismic. It does not require her to speak louder, chase harder, or prove anything. It only requires her to live her truth so fully that the vibration carries through the tether like a pulse. And once the masculine feels it, he cannot unfeel it. It may take time, it may stir resistance, but it begins the awakening that no silence, no distance, no denial can suppress. The feminine's frequency is the key. And when she turns it, the masculine soul begins to unlock. At the final stage of the twin flame journey, one truth becomes unavoidable. The divine feminine must move first. But how she moves makes all the difference. Because there are two ways she can step forward: through chasing or through embodying. On the surface, they may look similar. Both involve action, both involve energy. But the vibration behind them changes everything. Chasing is rooted in fear. It is the energy of lack, the belief that if I don't run after him, I will lose him forever. Chasing drains the feminine because it leaks her power outward in an attempt to control. She sends messages she regrets, bends her boundaries, sacrifices her peace just to feel close to him. And every time she does, the tether vibrates with desperation, which only fuels his resistance. He feels the pressure, not the love. He feels the demand, not the resonance. And so he retreats further into silence, believing he is not free to choose. Embodying is different. Embodying is not about chasing the masculine, but about claiming herself. It is when the feminine stops waiting for external confirmation and begins living as though union is inevitable. Because it is already alive inside her. She shows up for her mission, creates, serves, heals, builds. She irradiates the energy of sovereignty, not need. And this vibration does not pressure him. It calls him. It whispers through the tether, "I am whole. I am ready. I am not waiting. I am living." The masculine feels this difference immediately. When she chases, he feels suffocated. When she embodies, he feels magnetized. Chasing makes him hide because it mirrors his own unhealed wounds of control and fear. Embodiment awakens him because it mirrors the truth of who he is meant to become. The feminine often confuses the two. She believes that stepping forward means doing something outwardly dramatic, sending the message, making the call, breaking the silence. But the universe is not asking her to chase. It is asking her to shift her frequency. Sometimes that means no outward action at all. Sometimes it means simply choosing peace when she would have chosen panic. Sometimes it means saying no to what drains her instead of trying to force yes from him. Every time she chooses sovereignty over fear, she embodies. Embodying is also sustainable. Chasing leaves her exhausted, cycling through highs and lows, desperate for his response. Embodying leaves her grounded, luminous, magnetic. Her energy becomes consistent because it is no longer dependent on his choices. She lives her truth, regardless of his silence, and that truth is what shakes him awake. Not because she demanded it, but because he feels the gap between who he is and who he could be. The universe designed the feminine to embody, not to chase. She is the vessel of frequency, the signal of union. When she chases, she blocks the flow. When she embodies, she opens the portal. And this is the difference between forcing connection and activating destiny. So ask yourself, are you moving from fear or from truth? Are you trying to control or are you standing in your sovereignty? Are you leaking energy or are you anchoring it? The answers matter because they shape the vibration of the tether itself. When the feminine embodies, Sheba does not need to prove, persuade, or push. She simply is. And in that being, her energy becomes undeniable. The masculine may resist, but he cannot ignore it. Chasing can be escaped. Embodiment cannot. This is the difference. One drains, the other awakens. One delays, the other accelerates. One repeats the old cycle, the other births the new. And in the final stage of the twin flame journey, the universe will accept nothing less than embodiment. Because only embodiment carries the frequency of union. The universe never throws you into union unprepared. Before the door opens, it demands readiness. And for the divine feminine, preparing for the final step is not about waiting passively or obsessing over timelines. It is about building the inner and outer foundation strong enough to hold the weight of reunion. Because union is not fragile romance, it is sacred fire. And fire, if not honored, will burn instead of illuminate. Preparation begins with the body. Your vessel is the altar where the union frequency lands. You may already feel your body shifting. Waves of fatigue, restless sleep, sudden energy surges. These are not random symptoms. They are recalibrations. Support your body by grounding it. Drink more water, especially during energy spikes. Eat foods that root you, vegetables that grow underground, mineral-rich greens, clean proteins. Move your body gently but with intention. Walk barefoot, stretch, breathe deeply. These practices tune your vessel like strings on an instrument, preparing it to carry more light. Then comes the heart. Old wounds rise here, especially in the final stage. Memories of betrayal, abandonment, rejection. They surface not to haunt you, but to be cleared. You cannot carry these vibrations into union. Forgiveness becomes your ally. Not forgiveness that excuses what happened, but forgiveness that frees your heart from chains. Each time you choose release over resentment, you prepare your heart to hold a deeper love. Your mind must also be prepared. The ego panics in the final stage. It whispers doubts. What if I'm wrong? What if I'm crazy? What if it never happens? These voices grow loud because the ego knows it is losing control. Do not fight them. Observe them. Meditate, breathe, journal. Redirect your focus to the present moment. The more you quiet the ego, the more space you make for intuition to speak. And intuition is the voice you must follow now. Spiritual preparation is equally vital. This is not about memorizing rituals or forcing practices. It is about cultivating stillness, presence, and trust. Light a candle and sit in silence. Pray not with desperation, but with honesty. Ask the universe to align you, to prepare you, to clear what is false, create space for guidance to enter. The final stage is not about filling every moment with action. It is about creating space for the divine to move through you. Boundaries are another form of preparation. Many feminines believe preparing for union means leaving themselves endlessly open. In truth, it means the opposite. It means saying no to what drains you, cutting ties with what dishonors you, holding steady when others pull at your energy. Every boundary you honor strengthens your field, and only with a strong field can you step into union as an equal, not as someone collapsing into old patterns of codependency. Practical steps help too. Create the life you want to share even before he arrives. Build the projects, plant the seeds, serve the mission you are called to. This is not fantasy, it is alignment. When the masculine feels you anchoring your mission, it awakens his own. The universe rewards embodied preparation, not passive waiting. And finally, trust. This is the hardest and the most essential part. Trust that the universe knows what it is doing. Trust that the timing is exact, even if your mind screams otherwise. Trust that you are not behind. Trust that your counterpart is being prepared in his own way, even if you cannot see it. Trust that every synchronicity, every dream, every ache in your chest is confirmation, not confusion. Preparing yourself for the final step, Sasabiya, does not mean being perfect. It means being present. It means showing up every day as the truest version of yourself, even if you are trembling. It means building the foundation of sovereignty so strong that when the door opens, you step through it, not with desperation, but with reverence. Union is not given to those who wait. It is given to those who prepare, and your preparation is happening now. At the end of every cycle, when the silence feels unbearable and the longing feels like fire under the skin, the universe whispers one final truth. The divine feminine is the key, not the rescuer, not the chaser, not the one who bends or waits. She is the key because her embodiment unlocks the door that no other force can open. The final stage of the twin flame journey is not about who loves more, who suffers more, or who works harder. It is about alignment. And alignment begins with the feminine because she is the one designed to feel the currents first. Her body reacts, her heart expands, her spirit tunes into the frequency before the masculine even knows what is happening. This is not weakness, it is her gift. And when she embraces it, she becomes unstoppable. The masculine cannot awaken through logic. He cannot be argued, begged, or persuaded into union. His soul responds to frequency, not pressure. And that frequency is carried through the tether when the feminine anchors her light. The moment she chooses herself without apology, the moment she embodies mission without hesitation, the moment she radiates sovereignty instead of lack, he feels it, and he cannot unfeel it. This is why the universe insists she moves first, not because she must carry him, but because she must activate him. Her movement is not a sacrifice, but a signal. It tells the field, the feminine is ready, the union can now align. Her energy stabilizes the frequency that makes it possible for the masculine to step into his own truth. Without her embodiment, the cycle drags. With it, the portal opens. But this final step is not only about him, it is about her. Because the feminine's destiny was never just reunion. It was remembering her own power, It was realizing that her wholeness does not depend on his response, that her mission does not wait for his arrival, that her light is not a bargaining chip, but the foundation of everything. When she embodies this, she no longer asks, "When will he move?" Instead, she declares, "I am moving, and the universe will align what is mine." And when she does, the masculine's awakening follows. He is rattled, yes. He resists, yes. But he cannot deny the vibration. It shakes his illusions, breaks his cycles, and calls his soul into action. Not because she forced him, but because her frequency reminded him of his own. So, Divine Feminine, if you are reading this now, understand, you are not waiting for permission. You are not waiting for a sign outside of you. You are the sign. You are the movement. You are the key. The final message is simple, but powerful. Union begins with you. The feminine steps into her sovereignty, and the masculine feels the tether ignite. She anchors the field, and he awakens into it. She embodies truth, and together they create it. The feminine as the key does not mean she carries the weight forever. It means she initiates the unlocking. After that, the masculine must walk through his own fire, face his own shadow, and choose to rise. But none of it begins until she steps into her light. This is the sacred design. This is why the universe is pressing you now. This is why the urgency will not leave your chest. Because the time has come. You are the key, and the door to union is waiting.